Hi guys, welcome back to part 3 of your training. This is going to be the presentation training. I'm not going to actually do a presentation for you because you probably have seen your trainer do one already, or you've seen one at Super Saturday. But I just want to go very quickly through the slides to just let you know some of the important reasons of why we do a presentation. So here you're going to see this is the beginning of the presentation that is normally where we have living benefits and retirement solutions. As you know, we have even sub companies that's up under us, and here they will put their name as well because they are part of our team, even though they're a sub company. So what we're asking you guys to do is this is the basic of the presentation, is what you're about to see now. We're asking you to use that basic presentation. Now, if you want to add a little bit different intro, pertaining to the audience that you are trying to reach. For example, on our Super Saturdays, we go into more of the financial freedom because it is a financial freedom workshop. And so we talk about things like opportunity, debt-free, those type things. When I present to pastors, I have a little bit of a different introduction to pastors because I want to kind of target them based upon their retirement and how this can help their church. And help their family. So the beginning of it, I'm going to let you guys customize it depending upon the audience that you are reaching. But the basics of it, the basis of what I'm going to show you now, make sure all of these components is in there. Sometimes if you're presenting just to somebody with living benefits, you can just do that section, or if you're just presenting with somebody that's looking for retirement, you can just do that section. But always, if you're looking for someone that wants to be an agent, they need to see both because they need to understand the product and they need to understand what it's going to take for them to be an agent. You know, again, we do this. Our philosophy is we do what we do to help people. And so even as from an agent point of view, it's not about how much money you can make. We really want to focus on how many people's lives can we affect through our product. So having said that, again, you're going to see we're living benefits and retirement solution. This is we are the team that your up agent is attached to. And then we're going to see here, we are part of Freedom Equity Group. So we're just an agency of Freedom Equity Group, and Freedom Equity Group is the marketing company, FEG. And if you signed on, you already got emails from them. We already talked to them. I'll talk about them a lot in part 1 and 2. And so we want to let the customer know that. We also want to let the customer use this to tell them about this disclaimer. Now, the reason for the disclaimer is because you don't want anyone saying and going to make tax decisions and making certain decisions and then point back to you and they lose money, or they didn't get the right. They point back to you and say, hey, you told me to do that. And so they try to make you liable for that. So we always make this disclosure because we are not tax experts. We're in the financial service business, but we're not tax experts. And so we want to make sure we have this disclaimer. So it just let them know that as far as the tax laws, we're just giving them based upon the current knowledge that we have of the tax laws. So if anything is missaid or the law have changed, they can come back to us and say, well, you said this and you said that. So make sure you always give this disclaimer. Basically what we're doing is we're presenting the product so people can get educated on the new way of insurance, which is living benefits. Okay, and then we look at who we represent. These are about 4 of the 5 of the companies that we represent. I usually use AIG a lot because everybody pretty much has heard of AIG. They was in the news for a while with some different things and not anything about their company being in jeopardy, anything like that. But they had some upper management issues at one time, but they are a solid company. They've been around for over 100 years. American National, I usually let them know that American National is the one we do most of our business with. And if they say why, well, they offer all of the 16 triggers. They offer the most triggers and they are the least expensive. Phoenix is a company that we do a lot of our annuities through. They're very good through annuities, but these are just 5 of the 9 companies that we write business for. And so we want to always let people know we represent. And a major point here to let them know is that we're not the insurance company. We're just a marketing agency for these insurance companies, right? And so make sure you let them know. So we always put this in. What do? We help people, right? We help them protect their families through living benefits. Guys, this is the basic of what we do. Everything we do is based upon living benefits. And so you want to make sure you drive the point home that basically, whether we're doing tax-free retirement, whether we are doing getting people on to be financially free, become an agent, the living benefits is the flagship, is the basic of what we do. That is what separates us from the rest of the industry. Right now, it is a new kind of insurance. It is an upgrade from the old insurance. 10 or 15 years from now, a lot of companies is going to catch on just like anything else. When Apple came out with the touch screen, they was the first one to market, but about 4 or 5 years later, Android came out, BlackBerry even tried it. You had different companies come out and try to use it. It's the same thing with living benefits. We're like Apple, if you would. We're like one of the first companies through FEG that is able to bring living benefits to market. So that is our hook. That is our flagship. And this is the way we protect families. So on this slide, you can just kind of read through this a little bit. I just want to give you some pointers. Guys, memorize this stuff. Take time to look at it. So when you're clicking through, you're not reading with them. You're looking at them. You're engaging in them. But you already know what's coming up next on the slide. Right? Everybody know that if you get sick and can't go back to work, who will pay your bills? Say, I'm looking at you and I'm saying that, right? You have to be able to know the slides in advance. You got to know what's coming up next in advance. That's just going to make you a lot more professional and a lot more effective in presenting the product. And so you don't want to read this, right? You already want to know this is life insurance for the modern age. So when you go through this, I already know. So like now I already know the baby is coming up from the Time magazine. I already know what's in that. It's 142. This baby could live to be 142 years old. Those are the type of things that you just want to drive home. Now, at any time that you want to expound on this or tell personal stories, like one of the personal stories I had is that I was doing nursing home ministry one day, and I was talking to a woman that was 102 years old. And she was fluent. She was able to comprehend everything I talked about. She had good memory. But that's just an example that we're living longer today than we were 20 and 30 years ago. And so that's my story. But you need to develop your story. You need to make this personal to the people that you're presenting to. And so the next slide coming up, I know 7 out of 10 people will have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Sometimes, if time permit, or my audience, I would let them know to say, hey, I had a sister or somebody that was personable to me. And sometime I just ask them, have you guys known anyone that have had a heart attack, stroke, or cancer? And you know, the whole room or the person at the table would shake their head, yeah. Sometimes it just depends on how personable you are. Sometimes if you may pause and say, they may want to tell you about the story of someone that they know that has been affected by this, giving them an opportunity to be able to input, because you want to make this personable. And you want to make this so that they can really relate to the information that you're giving them. Again, we're educating, guys. We're not selling. We're just educating. So we have some statistics here. The risk of cancer. We have those. They come up. The key thing is off of this part is that, you know, and everybody can relate to them, that when people have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, most of them will not die. And that's where our insurance come into play. Because 30 years ago, you know, people would have heart attack, stroke, or cancer. They didn't know the cure. They didn't know how to do chemo very well. People was dying shortly after, but now they're living long and productive lives. And so the key is if they don't die and if they are not able to go back to work, how are they going to maintain and protect for their household? And then most will go bankrupt, right? And so you got to realize the statistics says that over half the people that go bankrupt is because of medical expense. It's because they had cancer, because something happened to where the bills just got really high and they had to file bankruptcy. So and so that's just information that is good to know from this slide. And then let's see. Now we're going to look at the 3 areas, right? Critical, chronic, and terminal illness. You should know this by now. You should have seen your trainer go through this. These are the 16 triggers, mostly done through Anaco. Some of the other companies, even though they offer living benefits, they offer 10 and 8, but they are a little bit more flexible sometimes with the insurability. right? And so sometimes they may not be as strict as Anaco on the pre-existing conditions, but they offer less critical illnesses points. And so this is just the learning curve for you. Don't try to gather all that right now. Only learn Anaco. You got a long haul to learn. You got a lot to learn with a lot of these companies. So don't try to learn all of that right now. Key thing is up to 90% of the face value of your policy. Now, it's important. This point is important because we do have not really a competitive, but a semi-competitive business called Aflac. And I always like to say that everybody know that duck, right? So Aflac tried to solve the problem as well with people and with workers, to where they would give you up to like a year of your salary if you get sick, right? But it's only a year after a year is cut off. So they're really not our competition. But, you know, sometimes I like to mention that because one of the most frequent questions that we would get is this Aflac, right? And so, again, that's something, a little bit of a nugget that you need to know. Receive up to 90% of the face value of your policy. I always give the example that if you have a $500,000 life insurance policy, you can receive around $450,000 if one of these critical things happen to you. Chronic illness as well is pretty self-explanatory here, guys. There's 2 of the 6 of the daily living activities. Cognitive impaired, which means if you bump your head or for some reason that you cannot do your job the way you used to do it because of a head injury, then your policy also kicks in. Terminal illness, everybody know what terminal illness is. We cover it up to 2 years. And again, the key is at no additional cost. At this point, you are done with the living benefit side, right? So when you get to this slide, you're done with the living. The next slide is going to take you into tax-free retirement. So what you want to do is give them that card. You remember the card. I'm going to get it. I'll show it to you right quick. You should have these. These are the policy quote cards. I'm holding it up right now so you can see it. You can look at the back side of it. That is where you just get them to fill out their basic information, and then you would get them a quote based upon $250,000 worth of coverage, 20 or 30 years. So that at that point, you ask, do you have any questions about living benefits? Living benefits, guys, is really self-explanatory. You really don't get too many questions after this session. But when you start getting into the tax-free retirement, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Not really difficult, but just more knowledge on the product. On the product. So what do? We help people now. We help protect their futures. How do we do it? We do it through tax-free retirement. So you know this, qualified plans. We're talking about the qualified plans. And here what you want to emphasize is the risk, fees, and taxes, right? Because that's where most people will lose their money in the 401ks or the qualified plans. And the key again, we are the modern type insurance for the longevity of life. So another point to make is the majority will outlive their income. Listen, red line, blue line, guys, is really expensive. You don't need to make this complicated. We just know the red line is the stock market. You could point out year 2002, year 2009, the stock market fell. The key thing is what I like to say, people woke up one day and lost all of their retirement they worked 20 and 30 years for, and their money was gone. Then we talk about the blue line. You know the blue line is the IUL. You never lose your money. Why? Because I have a 0% floor. And then we move on to the taxes. You've seen this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you know that we have a tax-free retirement. And so we talk about paying taxes on the seed and not on the harvest. The advantages of the withdrawal, and we're going to illustrate that with Brother A and Brother B. Now, Brother A and Brother B is something that you really got to get down to understand, because this bring it home. The other areas you can kind of skip through pretty, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time on, because Brother A and Brother B is going to really nail it for you. So it talks about, you know this, the old way versus the new way, right? This is $400, and I know you've seen this, so I'm not going to go into this a whole lot. This is going to be something that your trainer will work with you on. But just to explain it a little bit, the $4,800 is based upon $400 a month that he's paying into his retirement. The $1,200 that his employee is matching is based upon $100 a month that his employee is matching. He's getting a $500,000 life insurance policy. He's paying $60 a month for it. So his total monthly contribution to his insurance and his retirement, $560. And as we see, Brother B just paying $300. It is included in his $500 is included. His $500,000 life insurance policy is included in his $300 a month payment. So he's only paying $300 a month. He got an IUL with living benefits for life, right? So we go to who made the right decision. When you're going through this, you know, focus on that $706,000. Focus on that it's zero term now, right? That he have no more term life. His money is ran out at 65. That $36,000 is okay, but you really don't have to point on that a whole lot. That's just saying that's the amount of money that brother A saves from being tax deferred off the $400, right? And then you go to brother B and you emphasize the $366,000, emphasize the $500,000 that he still have life insurance and he still have it with living benefits. So even at 65, if you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, he still get up to 90% of his $500,000 life insurance policy. And then the total contribution through $360, about $6,000. Point out, when you go to the results, who made the right decision, point out that $706,000 versus this $366,000. Because most people will say, you know, the $700,000 is the better decision, right? And then you come here, just, this is again self-explanatory. Just go through it. Don't try to make it rocket scientist. Look, he want to live off of $667,603. In order to do that, he got to pull out $90,000. Why? Because he's been taxed $22,000. Brother A would be out of money in 9 years. Why? Because that $90,000 is pulling from that $706,000. Again, brother B, make it simple. Don't make it complicated. The insurance company, because their money is protected and guaranteed, they're going to give him a loan for $67,000. His money at $366,000 is going to continue to grow. They're going to give him a loan that is not payable until death. So you can go down to the 100 years, go up when 100 years old. 26 years later, brother A is out of money. He's been out of money 26 years and he don't even have life insurance. But brother B, because he was getting $67,603 for 35 years, he was able to use $2,366,000, but his $366,000 that was growing came up to $7 million. So when he died, he paid back the $2.3 million that he paid off, that he used for those 35 years, and he left $4.7 million to his family. And so you can kind of go into talking about, man, you know, what a great deal that is, and would you rather be brother A and brother B, and the legacy side of it, and he left his children's and inheritance and so forth. Very easy to wrap that up. So that's not really difficult, but just go through it. Just don't try to overcomplicate it. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Just keep it very simple. Then we talk about everyone need our product. There's over 140 million policies out there that is on the old system. We're on a crusade to get to them, to let them know that there is a new way to cover them if they get sick. So we have cleared our product, right? We've talked about that's all we do. We do living benefits and we do tax-free retirement. That is the bulk of our product. Now, if you're talking to an agent and someone want to become an agent, now we're just going to go into this very quickly. What do? We help people become financially free, business ownership, right? So let them know what the startup cost is. Let them know that the website is only $125. Let them know that is just for the website. Nobody get paid on that. And there is no monthly fee to run the website. Let them know about the TDI application that is state sanctioned. So it's legal, right? It's a legal business. It's not a pyramid scheme, because the state would not sanction and license a pyramid scheme. So I use a slide that in there for the people that have a question later about, well, is this a pyramid scheme? And so you go into the background check. Don't try to scare about it with that. Just let them know the only thing that they're looking for is identity theft type stuff, because you're going to be handling a lot of the sensitive information from your clients. And then let them know that they have to test out total investment, $265. Right. So we know this promotion just ran March to May 31st. We're going to change this part a little bit when we get to get out of the promotion, because then you're going to be about threes instead of be about twos. But let them know about the 600 points. Let them know that when they first come on, when they pay their 125, they become a trainee. This is very important now, because we want people to have an expectation. We don't want to give them a false expectation. We can't let them think that they're going to sign up today and start making money tomorrow. Right. That's very important. So you have to let them know that they can only get paid after they get their license, right? Over the things we just went over with the TDI, the background check, and let them know that's going to be about 6 weeks. So they needed to have the expectation that when they come into this business, they're not going to be able to get paid until about 6 weeks. During that time, they do the 600 points training, 6,000 points training. If they do that in a 6-week period of time, we would give them a bonus, a thank you of a $900 training allowance. If they don't do it in 6 weeks, they forfeit the training allowance. And then we go into, okay, after you get licensed, you become a rep. This is just basic stuff to just let them know. You become a rep. Now you get a raise to 35%. So if you do 2 policies, that's $200 a month, which is the average of Central Texas. You could make $1,600 a month just by doing 2 policies a month. So express the full-time and the part-time. Do the same thing for the DM level. Let them know at this point you want to start building your agency. The insurance agency will give you a raise because now you're worth more to them because your company, your agency now have 3 people instead of 1. So they say you got 3 times the selling power. So they're going to give you a raise to 40%. When you get the DVM, that means you got about 6 people up under you. Now, at this point, they say we're going to give you another raise, right? Because why? You got 6 people that your selling power has just increased by 6 people. So they're going to give you another raise. So that same 2 policies, you'll make $2,100 now by bringing 6 people into your business instead of making the $1,680, right? And then you want to, this is where you begin to show them the money, because this is where the money really start coming in if they're serious about being financially free. All right. The next step is the REM. REM, you have about 14 people up under the promotion into your business. Now they've given you a raise to 55%, right? And the 55% now for those same 2 policies, now you're making $2,600 a month versus the $1,600 a month, part-time, right? And then you let them know about the override base shop. Explain that, if you're at 55%, now you get a chance to get override from your base shop. That means that you got somebody coming into your business at 35%. They sell a policy. The company now is paying you 55%. So that extra 20% buffer override, that comes to you, even though you was not even there doing that sale. And you do that until they get to the REM spot or to the RVP spot. And so the RVP is where you want to be. Right now, if you get about 30 people into your business, you have about 70% of every policy. And so you see there the money start getting good. Your base shop will bring you over $16,000 a month. That's where you start getting the financial free at. So you just kind of want to let them know that, talk about that a little bit. Turnkey business. We want to talk about building people because that's what we do, to fulfill your dreams and become financially free. Our commitment is training, training, training. So guys, this is the basic illustration. Again, you will be receiving this. You've seen your trainer do it, and you'll be receiving this yourself so you can get through it, so you can learn it, and so you can master it, and you can present it anywhere at any time. Now, we have table presentations that is about 3 pages that kind of chop this down a little bit. So table presentation is laminated flip charts, if you would, or laminate paper that you can take and give it to them one at a time as you talk about brother A and brother B, if you're talking about living benefits or so forth. That's where if you're in a situation where you're not able to hook up a computer so they can see your computer and see this presentation. So you'll be trained on that as well. But this is the one you're going to have to take a test on. This is the one that you're going to have to do in front of your trainer in order to get out of the trainee position. We need to make sure you know how to do this, how to represent the product. So guys, I want to thank you so much again for taking the time and to invest into yourself and to invest into your training. I know that you guys are going to do an excellent job. We're excited for you. Look forward to part 4, which is going to be coming up. We're going to have a part 4. We got to talk about filling out need analysis, e-apps, and those type things. So that's going to be coming up very shortly. All right, guys. See you in the next presentation.